It is fascinating. Yeah, they're all on the same page with this. Whoa, what is going on with Megyn Kelly? What is going on here? What is like
what do you mean?
It's a little trippy dippy, like what's going on behind it.
She got the people who did Biden's sort of red background, that speech that everyone freaked out about, remember?
No, it kind of looks like bed sheets. Like it looks like a backdrop for 50 Shades.
It's a
of Grey.
roses, yeah.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
well.
maybe. Here's Megyn Kelly. You remember her. Basically saying, we're engaged in lawfare.
Oh. Wasn't she the Fox journalist that held Trump to account? So much so that, she was a little bit in trouble with...
I know what that backdrop is. Blood's coming out of everywhere.
Blood's coming out of wherever.
Go ahead.
Will rue the day they decided to use lawfare to stop a presidential candidate. I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about tit for tat. You just wait, and it won't be Hunter Biden the next time. It's going to be Joe Biden. It could potentially still be Barack Obama. It could still potentially be Hillary Clinton. We're going to have to look at what the statutes of limitations are on the various crimes they surely committed.
Pause it
We're
for
going
a
to have to
second.
look.
I love how this is so general. Right. Like, I mean, I have some suggestions of possible things to investigate, like the legality of essentially saying that the U.S. government can assassinate a U.S. citizen without any adjudication outside of, people sitting in a meeting and saying, this guy seems pretty bad. I'd be curious about that. If we're going to do this, let's do that. I would also like some of the stuff that the Biden administration is doing or planning or proposing about at the border. I think some of that is a little bit dicey. But why can't they come up with something?
It's interesting, and she mentions a lawyer here that on that front of things that maybe should be investigated by previous administrations. Just go ahead, Bradley.
What the statutes of limitations are on the various crimes they surely committed. We're going to have to look at passing laws to revive those dead crimes, felonies or misdemeanors, so that those cases can be brought out of time. That's what may be in the interests of justice, just like they did for E. Jean Carroll, with a New York State law that was passed so that she could sue him. That's what happened.
That's not what happened.
That is not my understanding. My understanding is that law was passed actually through a lot of lobbying that had to do with
Harvey
people who were assaulted, by priests and whatnot, and may not have had the
Adult Survivors Act in New York.
Yes.
Megan's
in
law,
fact,
right?
I had interviewed people who were working on that years before Donald Trump was even president.
Yeah, Megyn the Stallion, this is relevant, I promise, had a diss track earlier this year where she says these hoes aren't mad at Megyn, these hoes are mad at Megan's law.
Yep.
And Nicki the Stallion took a lot of offense to that.
Nicki Minaj.
Sorry, took a lot of offense to that because of her associations, and it turns out that's not really the only person that line could have applied to, and she was kind of telling on herself by getting so offended by it. But
yeah.
So that she could sue him. That's what happened. Turnabout is fair play. And John Yoo, an amazing lawyer who worked in the Bush administration.
Pause it for a second. You know who I'd like to see actually also charged? John Yoo.
Well, that would be
For essentially being the architect of the torture regime that we had in this country.
the memorandum regarding military interrogation and alien unlawful combatants held outside the United States.
Yeah. Can we?
You want to go tit for tat? If she wants to agree to charge Barack Obama for assassinating a U.S. citizen without due process abroad, then can we bring up George W. Bush and Dick Cheney for war crimes?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And John Yoo for that matter.
Let's do it.
That's what happened. Turnabout is fair play. And John Yoo, an amazing lawyer who worked in the Bush administration, Department of Justice, has a great piece out today talking about how that's the only way they'll learn The only way to save the republic now is to give them a taste of their own medicine. That's it. That's it. They tasted blood today. They're the wolves with the bloody piece of meat in their mouths. That doesn't stop the wolf from coming back for more. The only thing that will stop him is if he loses a limb of his own. And I'm sorry, but the Democrats started this game in the same way the Republicans upped the ante when it came to, for example, the filibuster fight. The Democrats got rid of it for lower court judges. Mitch McConnell said, you will rue the day because we're going to be in control of this chamber one day and you're going to lose the filibuster at the higher level court and you'll be sorry. That's what needs to happen here. Who's getting indicted next? Joe Biden? Maybe Jill Biden. How low can we go? You may not want to see it. That ship has already left port. That horse has left the barn. That's where we're going. So before you celebrate too much over at MSNBC and CNN, who are positively gleeful over this absurd conviction, you wait and ask yourself, what kind of Pandora's box has been opened here? Here was President.
Okay, personally, I am totally in favor of the filibuster going completely away. I think that's a good thing, both for legislative reasons and even despite the fact that it's very likely the Republicans will control the Senate next year. Well, it's possible. But it's fascinating that they cannot come up with a specific reference of a charge. Like, I'm definitely open to the idea of ex-presidents and powerful people and elite people and wealthy people finally being held to account. But you really should come up with at least one, charge.
We'll have to look into it.
We got to look into it. Investigate. Yes, by all means, investigate. That's the thing. The Democrats completely out of whole cloth came up with this whole thing about January 6th existing. And then they completely out of whole cloth, after begging him to return the documents that he stole from the U.S. government, they completely came up with that whole thing. The idea that Donald Trump, got held to account in state court for lying about the value of his real estate, depending on whose perspective you want as to raising the value of it in one venue and lowering it in another, so he could avoid it basically fraudulently. These things all invented out of whole cloth.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, incidentally, they would not even give him he has a hotel in Vegas, but they would not give him a casino license.
I like the idea
because the Democrats knew that someday he was going to run for president.
Obviously.
I like the idea that the Republicans would need to get a model of going after political rivals with BS legal concerns. I came to political consciousness under the whole Bill Clinton stuff. You've been writing that play, guys.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, you're going to raise the bar.
That's instructive there, right? I mean, and her kind of opportunistically painting herself as a Trump critic. She ended up leaving Fox News because she was sexually harassed by Roger Ailes, and then went to the Today Show, and that didn't work out so well. And these are just Republicans. I mean, it doesn't even matter that she was at one point critical of how he, called Rosie O'Donnell a fat pig or whatever. In the end, she is going to line up and defend him to the ends of the earth here, right? I mean, that's a full-throated defense of Donald Trump and saying this is a political witch hunt. It doesn't matter.
Yep. It's funny. They won't actually articulate that.
Right.
The interesting sort of fine line they're going. They won't echo what he's saying, which is a witch hunt. They won't actually say that these are made up charges per se. And they also won't say what things that they think should be prosecuted. This is really just they're bathing in in aggrievement. That's it. It's just really just bathing in aggrievement. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.